It still feels weird, so I think it's just me now.
Oops. Thank you, Corey. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Fellowship Sunday afternoon service, and welcome to all those who are watching virtually as well. It's a very, very nice group today, so we're happy to have you all with us. I want to say happy Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is coming up on Tuesday, and I'm just going to invite us all to use Tuesday to just celebrate love. Let's not worry so much about whether we've got someone to have a relationship with or not. We'll just celebrate love and the many, many ways that we can love one another. It's a good day to remind ourselves to do that. So we're going to stand and sing our opening song. It's right on the front of your songbook. So please stand, and Corey will lead us through.
All right, children of love, let's sing to our Father, Mother God, our spirit source.
Yeah, I unplugged it. Yeah, you're true.
Corey again. That's just such a beautiful way to begin our service. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite everyone to relax a bit. If you're comfortable, close your eyes and just take a deep breath. Let's lay the busyness of the day down and bring our full awareness to the one divine presence, the one creative intelligence that is all wise and all powerful and everywhere present. And from this space, we remember that we are the very essence of the Spirit, one with unbounded presence, that we live, move, and have our being in. A divine love that extends through us, as us, into this world. And as we align with this complete union with God, it brings us into perfect harmony with the universal energy of love. In our human experience, we embrace unfolding love. And it's a reminder that all things change. We can use this reminder as an opportunity to open our hearts and minds to the flow of change, easily and effortlessly, letting go, surrendering without resistance, allowing Spirit to make all things new, aligned with pure love. We see and feel divine peace. And we can savor every moment and every manifestation in our lives with deep, deep gratitude. And together we say, and so it is. And now we're going to have some wonderful music from the wonderful Dangling Participles, so please give them a warm welcome.
Since this is the day before, a couple days before Valentine, we decided we're going to do a love song.
We just decided that.
And it's for the way you look at me. Oh, love is for the only one
was perfect. We were just listening to that last night, actually, at our Valentine's Day party. Oh, I forgot to mention too how wonderful our dinner was, and I think it was maybe $565 that we made for our fundraiser, so that was pretty good. We're going to stand again and sing a fellowship song. Please turn to page 40, and we're going to sing about the power of decision.
I should. At the fellowship, we know that abundance is the flow of divine energy. And at this point in our service, this is a time when we stop and fill our hearts with gratitude and abundance in our own lives, and also the abundance that the fellowship it has. We're so grateful for all of the generosity and generous donations that you make to help our fellowship continue on, now in our 40th year. And Richard just reminded me earlier that we came back into person, having in-person services last February. So it's been a year now since we've been back in person, and the numbers are growing, and it's wonderful to see everyone coming back and getting in that habit. And that's abundance too, in and of itself. So thank you all. As John brings around the basket to accept your financial gift, I know many of you give online, so just hold your gift in consciousness, if you would, as we give thanks for our gifts to the fellowship. Also remembering too, I should have said it earlier, if you need for us to pray for someone, you can write that on your card and put it in the basket.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. I'd like to invite you now to say the blessing of the tithes and offerings that you'll see on the front of your bulletin. The light of divine love shines eternally, blessing and multiplying our tithes and offerings. I joyously give, knowing I always have enough to share and to spare. Thank you again. And we're going to take another moment to close our eyes and turn to our hearts and hold all those named in the basket today close. We embrace them with love, and we join our loving energy together and extend this heightened, more expanded energy to their healing, to their love, whatever they need is coming their way. And we know that all is well. We see them healed and healthy and whole, with all problems solved and solutions found. And we say, and so it is. So before our speaker, we have one more fellowship song. There's one. This is a really joyful one, so I'd like for you to stand and turn to page 37. Sing your song.
World
Good afternoon. It's nice to see everybody on this almost spring morning, afternoon, huh? Yeah, I can't recall the last time my thermometer said 50 degrees. It's been a while. So I'd like to start out with doing kind of a three-part meditation. And it's going to start out with some mindfulness, then we'll do a little relaxation, and then we'll do some connection. So make yourself comfortable in your chair. Just kind of sit back. Maybe inhale through your nose. I'm going to start out with, you can keep your eyes open. And I want you to just to look about the room, moving your head and your eyes, and looking about the things about you. What do you see? Try to do so without any judgment. You see the different colors and the shades. What do you see? The light, the dark? To look around and just to experience it as if it was the first time. Just being mindful of the things and people around us. And now, to take the time and to listen. What do you hear? Maybe you hear the fan, the squeak of a chair, someone exhaling. Being fully present, hearing what's there. Now inhale through your nose. What do you smell? Is there a scent, an odor? What do you detect? Feel the coolness of your breath as it moves through your nose. And now we'll close our eyes for a minute or two. And we'll take inventory of our body. How does it feel? Is there discomfort? Can you feel the weight on your sit bones and your feet? Listen to your body. It is communicating to you. Being fully aware, without judgment. And so now we'll kind of go into a relaxation mode. Relaxing our feet and our toes, maybe wiggling them, finding a comfortable position. Relaxing our ankles and our calves and our knees. Giving thanks to our legs. Relaxing our torso and our hips. Relaxing our arms, our neck, our face. Giving thanks to all the things that they do without mostly complaint. Just to be relaxed and aware. There is no time other than this present moment. And so now we'll do a thing a little different, and it's we're going to do 3 sounds together, and I suggest you don't have to, but if you put your hands by your neck, I want you to feel the sounds that we're going to make. We're going to make 3 sounds. O, Om. And we'll do that 3 times. So please do it with me. O, Feel the vibration. Let's do that again. This is the connection and the vibration that we all work at. And so now you can kind of wiggle your feet and your toes and your fingers and come back to this world of form and substance. The title of my talk today is about intentions. And my question for you is this: how much do our thoughts affect our perception of reality? I think that there are probably at least 4 answers. Some would say none at all. Some would say a little bit. Others might say a lot. And very few would say all. In this group, I think that we're probably aware that we create a lot of our own life. In the Course in Miracles, it says the word beware just once. And it says this: beware of the false belief that you have been treated poorly. What do you think the author was trying to convey there? It would be my humble opinion, the author is trying to say that we create our lives, even the parts that are hard and sometimes painful. Is it possible we can overcome obstacles by consciously engaging the creative process? So, just a little review, talk about how the creative process works. Thought, word, and deed. Also can be thought about mind, body, spirit. And another way of looking at it might be Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. As Neil Donald Walsh would say, those are the Holy Trinity. So how do our thoughts affect our perception of reality? I'll read you a couple of quotes that I thought were interesting that kind of convey my belief in this. If you change the way you look at things, Wayne Dyer had said, the things you look at change. We can alter our reality. In Psalm 82, verse 6, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, ye are gods and children of the Most High." What do you think the author was trying to get at with that? That there's a power within us. Neil Donald Walsh was quoted as saying, "We must decide, is life something that is happening to us or something that is happening through us? If we are part of the problem, we can also be part of the solution." Sometimes I've had difficulty of connecting how my mind and my body work, and sometimes I think it's independently. And I've told this story several times before, and so bear with me if you've heard it, is that it must have been 15 or 20 years ago. I developed severe back pain, and I called my doctor, and since it was going down my left arm, they told me to go to the emergency room. Because it had all the markings of heart problem. And so I did so, and they admitted me. And they were going to do a stress test, and they kept me overnight and going to do the test in the morning. And I'm miserable. I'm just absolutely miserable. I'm sitting in my hospital bed, and I can't really lay down. It hurts too much. There's a place where I can, a couple degrees one way, and it's just about the only place I could find where I'm not in agony. It's 2:00 in the morning, the place is quiet. The night nurse comes in and she says to me, you don't have to be miserable. The doctor did prescribe morphine for you. And after spending, a full day in misery, I said that would be okay to try to do that. They had already had me hooked up to a IV and had a little port, for injecting whatever they needed. So the nurse rolls in her cart, and she gets out her syringe and does her thing, and it's just unbelievable. Immediately, it's just the pain is gone. And it's like I could sit up straight, I could breathe again. You know, it was like so dramatic. I couldn't believe it. And, you know, and the nurse looks at me and she says, well, isn't this an interesting turn of events? You know, because I haven't given you the drug yet. I just is using the saline rinse. And so what's the power of our mind, you know, is that if you think that you're going to get relief, I got relief. What's real, you know? And so often, it was just a perfect illustration about how my mind, and I think many of our minds work in our lives. You know, we think a certain way and we experience it that way. And it doesn't have to always be that way. So what I have done, you have a piece of paper in your little envelope and a pencil, and I'd like us to engage in the creative process. I'd like you to write down a couple of intentions of things that you would like to manifest. Maybe it's better health or financial independence. Maybe what you desire is a new relationship, either platonic or romantic. There are no wrong answers. Why don't you take a minute? I'm going to take a sip of water and I'll be back with you. And just write down a couple things. So when you've completed that, on the other side, let's take our ideas and transform them into an affirmation. For example, I feel healthy. Or possibly, I am attracting new people into my life. Maybe it's about monetary things. I have enough to share and to spare. This is engaging that creative process. Starts with a thought. We write down what we think, making an affirmation about truth, correcting our thinking, seeing things differently. So why are intentions important? Someone yesterday pointed out that the roads to hell is paved with good intentions. And so I think that it's more than just intending to do something. It's moving it from the thought into the word so that the actual deed, the manifestation, can come about. In the past, we've talked about quantum theory. And I won't go into the details, but science has now shown is that at the smallest levels of creation, there is a relationship between the observed and the observer. For the most part of my life, and I think for many people, they looked at reality as something that happened to us, that it was independent. And now we're seeing, that isn't necessarily true, is that on small levels of creation, of quantum particles, they can behave as either a particle or as a wave. And the interesting thing is that when you look at them, they know that you're looking at them, and they change their behavior accordingly. It's interesting that the idea of reality is not as absolute as we once thought. So can we use this as a model to transform our lives, everyday lives? Can our intentions alone change our perception of reality? Let's examine the simple intention to be friendly. A year or two ago, I spoke about dogs and how they evolved from wolves some 130,000 years ago. And how did this come to pass? And no one knows for sure. There's only conjecture. But the idea is that some of the more friendly wolves came near the campsites of early man and were fed scraps of food. That simple act of being friendly enough to stick around began a journey into something different. what's interesting is that not only did that journey change things, it actually changed the genetic signature of wolves. The only difference between dogs and wolves is on chromosome number 5, where 6 genes are turned off. But that gene, was as important. It's interesting is that in man, we have something similar, and it's called a genetic disorder called Williams disease. And one of the interesting manifestations of that disease is that gene is turned off as well. And one of the symptoms is that they are extremely friendly. So we're finding, that the concept is that we're dealt a set of genetic cards, and you get what you get. And there's nothing you can do about it. But we're starting to understand, the science is starting to understand that that's not entirely true. Through the environment in our behavior, we can actually change genetic information. I did a Google search, and it said that there are in the world about 250,000 wild wolves. How many think dogs there are? 471 million. You have to ask, which one has been the better of being able to adapt to the world? We used to believe it was the survival of the fittest that described how evolution worked. But there also seems to be something that said it's about the survival of the friendliest. That simple act of being friendly can transform things through our relationships and even genetically. I have a friend with me here today, and he always refers to his spouse as my beautiful wife. And I've never heard anyone do that before, but I really like that. Is that what he has done is he had a thought, and then his intention is to see her as beautiful. What comes first, the intention or the event? Is she beautiful? And then she thinks that he responds that way, or is he setting up how he wants to see her? And I just think, what a wonderful way to be, is that to set the intention to see people differently. And by doing so, we actually see the things that we intend. I have a website that I visit, and on the front of it, on the top of the page, it says these words: trust in life, practice kindness, appreciate beauty, believe in goodness. And I'm thinking, what a great intention about how to conduct life. I want to do business with people like that. What would the world be like if we practiced those beliefs, those intentions? I think it would be very difficult to have those intentions and do something contrary to that. Tuesday will be Valentine's Day, and Mary had eloquently spoke to that, and I felt I should say a few words about that day. And in many ways, it's a day that has been set aside like no other, but really, it shouldn't be just one day. It's a way of looking at things, and it's not about cards or candy or flowers. It can be, but it's about so much more. It's about connecting with people and affirming that love is really important. If we only make it one day a year, I don't think that this is going to be sufficient to change the course of our lives. It's having Valentine's Day in our mind every day of the year. To look upon others differently, to have the intention to see them differently. I think we all want a great life. How do we go about doing that? and with the intentions and the ideas that you wrote down and the affirmations, you've started the process of creating exactly that. The power is within each of us to be able to attain greatness. There is nothing in this world that cannot be achieved through our thought process and our intentions. I've read a book recently about this fellow who was in a wheelchair, and he was just a great illustration. There are people in our lives that come forward that illustrate that there are no boundaries or limits on what we can do. And I've spoke about him before. He was born with brittle bone syndrome, and by the time he was 16, he had 180 fractures in his life. He was wheelchair bound. He was only about 3'6". And when he was born, the doctors didn't believe that he would live for another day, but he did. And his life was challenging. And he talked about, being in adolescence and having somebody that he liked, a girl that he liked, and she wouldn't have anything to do with him. And it broke his heart realizing that it was never going to happen for him. But somewhere along the line, he challenged those thoughts and rejected the idea that he was limited. He went on, to work at the White House under the Clinton and married a beautiful woman. He died, he fell out of his wheelchair. And his last words were, "I get to do this." And I thought, wow, what a different way of looking at life. That instead of looking at it as being a victim of, injustice or a body that doesn't work well, I challenge us to look at ourselves and our situation differently, and that the things that we desire most, we can have if we're willing to do the work. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. I can't think of a better way to close that than with our thoughts, our prayers on page 35.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers, take charge of what you're saying. See how your conscience says, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. The birds they sang at the break of day started gigging, and I heard them say, don't dwell on what has passed away, or what's yet to be. The wars, they will be fought again. The holy dove will be caught again. Bought and sold and bought again. The dove is never free. run no more with that lawless crowd, while the killers in high places say their prayers out loud. But they summoned, yes, they summoned up a thundercloud. They're gonna hear from me, gonna hear from me. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light can see. You can have all the parts, but they don't have the much. There is no drum. Every heart to love will come, but like a refugee, ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in.
Beautiful songs today, Dangling Participles. Thank you so much. Thank you, Corey, for your music. And thank you, Richard, for your reminders and good stories to illustrate them. I especially was reminded about the concept of I get to do this. And that's so powerful, because how often do you hear yourself say, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. But if we said, I get to do this, I get to be here with all of you every Sunday, and I love that so much. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you, virtual watchers. And I have just one reminder today that we have Death Cafe coming up on Saturday at 2 p.m. at the fellowship office. So join us for an interesting and inspiring and discussion and a lot of connection with each other. It's a good hour spent. So let's get in our peace circle and do our closing blessing.